Humans have been farming in the UK for at least 6,500 years. Traditionally grazed habitats may have already existed in forest clearings, exposed hilltops or coastal headlands, but others, such as arable fields, hedgerows and orchards, were created by people. Arable farmland may not be as natural as other habitats, but its importance for wildlife should not be understated. It is full of life. From bumblebees and butterflies to corn buntings, linnets, harvest mice and the predators they support. As well as these birds, insects and mammals, another group of species is key to this diverse habitat: arable plants. Yet rapid changes in consumer tastes, growing urban populations and a dramatic decline in traditional farming methods in the mid-20th century have had a devastating impact on the wildlife that depend on farmland. That's why the Back from the Brink Colour in the Margins project has focused on this as one of the priority habitats to protect and restore to secure a future for the species that live here. The partnership working within this project with staff from Plant Life and the RSPB was a key starting point to tackle this challenge. By working together with the most important people, landowners, farmers and farm advisors, and building trust and sharing knowledge with organisations like the Farming and Wildlife Advisory Group, Farm Cluster Facilitators, the Wildlife Trusts and Natural England, we could start to focus the delivery of many aspects of Colour in the Margins. The volunteers who have also worked with us have been invaluable, enabling us to cover more areas than we ever thought possible. But its success of this project would not have been possible without willing landowners keen to learn more about managing their land for the benefit of these threatened species.
I'm David Oates. I'm a 7th generation farmer here at Roswick Farm, which is in the middle of the Lizard Peninsula in South Cornwall. One of the great things about Back from the Brink being a national project, the knowledge from what we can find can be shared nationally and hopefully given a bit more importance, and as also a baseline for future surveys as well.
Before any habitat management could be planned, Colour in the Margins needed to understand the current state of the project's key 10 plant species and 3 ground beetles, where we could find them and how big their populations were. We have been able to survey land, create data sets, establish trends over time and learn more about these species. These surveys focus mainly on the very rare species, but has also allowed us to provide advice for other rare and threatened plants, as well as invertebrates, farmland birds and mammals. We've been able to provide farm advice that is complementary to existing management schemes, understanding the delicate balance that must be found for farmers. Arable plants are the fastest declining suite of plants in the UK, and Colour in the Margins have been able to create a platform for education, understanding and sympathetic management for these rare plants to thrive. The surveys done by our staff and volunteers are turned into advice, face-to-face advisory work and written reports and management advice, as well as liaising with farm advisors and farm cluster facilitators. By looking at the management practices, we've also been able to understand what different species require. For example, pheasant's eye seed is shed at an immature stage and requires summer warmth to mature for autumn germination, something we didn't know up until now. Trial management schemes, creating new plots and advising on management for agri-environmental schemes have also proved successful. We've also found out that some plants, like spreading hedge parsley, prefer shallower cultivations rather than deeper disturbance like ploughing, and this has changed the advice that we've been able to provide for farmers and land managers. Populations at sites where management changes have been brought in have seen boosts in plant numbers, and by collaborating with farmers, these good management practices will be established for the future. Carefully reintroducing species where they would have been found before has been an important aspect for Colour in the Margins. We have worked with Kew Gardens and the Millennium Seed Bank, who have done grow-outs of red hemp nettle, small flower catchfly, spreading hedge parsley and corn buttercup so that we could have a seed resource to sow. They also provided seed of pheasant's eye and advised us on the collection and cleaning of broadleaf cudweed seed. This is a species that is listed on Schedule 8 of the Wildlife and Countryside Act and meant that we needed a licence to collect it from the wild. We have been able to sow over 50 new populations of these species close to the source populations. And being able to work with such engaged farmers has taught us a huge amount about how to reintroduce annual plants. There is still more to follow up here, with monitoring to assess the longevity of this conservation measure. Back from the Brink and Colour in the Margins have been working with the public, artists, filmmakers and photographers to ensure that people know and understand more about this precious but misunderstood habitat. We've worked with volunteers and the public at events, country shows, art events and open days. Relationships with farmers and landowners have been established, links with schools and the Royal Agricultural College have been created, and a huge range of resources have been developed to increase engagement with this wonderfully diverse habitat. From interpretation boards and arable discovery sheets to higher education learning resources, you name it, we've created it. Hopefully, the more people who know about this habitat, the more will understand the need to save it.